What are your 3 most important leadership lessons that you've learned and that you share, and why?
One of them is that you just kind of have to be fearless. I knew that, but I don't think I ever would have articulated it. You gotta, if you take this step, you gotta own it, and you have to know you're going to make mistakes, and you have to own it, and don't beat yourself up too much. Whenever I made a mistake that I thought was my fault, I think I beat myself up too much at home. You know, and then it's somewhere along the line, but really now looking back, everybody does. I wanted to be really good, and my first priority, my first interest was the students. Every job I have had leading up to this job has had something to do with students. Even at the Black College, but the thing I liked most of all was training the interns. I was at the University of California for many years as the Educational Opportunity Counselor Coordinator when the University of California decided to use its flexibility in admissions to get more black students on campus, because although that campus is in the middle of Berkeley, California, and just down the road from Oakland where there's a whole bunch of black people, the black representation is historically low. And from my childhood all the way through, I believe now that if you make a child believe that he or she can do it, and you help a little bit, and the door is open, there's no telling. So by the time I got to Paine, I already knew this backwards and forwards. Don't tell me you can't make it here. Don't tell I had a joke that my two or three students that were misbehaving, I would tell other presidents, even my misbehaving kids are sweet. Maybe that was a slight stereotype, but that's the way I told my students, I love you. I told to them every day, I told them at every chapel meeting, I told them when I saw them, and they are on my Facebook, thank God, with notes now saying, one thing we know about her is she loves us. And that made the whole thing work for me. I still get those messages, and it's now what it is. So that, I don't know, what is your question? What did you ask me?
I was asking about the 3 most important leadership lessons.
Okay, one is that you have to own what you own. 2, that as far as these HBCUs are concerned, the leadership involves, you have to know what is it that is a threat, and you have to know it in and out. And if it's a threat that you can control, you have to do whatever you need to do with your constituency to deal with that threat. And the threat I'm talking about in particular is accreditation. That's not a fun thing, but you have to know it. And in that respect, somewhere you have some other question that is all tied to this, I'll throw it in now, is that for these particular institutions, maybe for all institutions, but ours are vulnerable for several reasons. Because we wear the title black, which still carries with it a certain amount of vulnerability no matter what it is you do. So here's this institution with that in it. There's always, or there has been so far always, a risk factor. One of the risk factors is people are not, some people are not sure if it's a black one that is up to par. And how you define par is all kind of things. So you have to know that, and you don't have to go around being defensive, but you have to defend. 2, when you know what the threats are, and the one key threat is accreditation, but it isn't the only one, is you have to decide what is it that this school is. And then you have to not try to make it what it ain't. Now, what I mean by that is sometimes, because Notre Dame can make a lot of money playing football, if it does, which I think it does, that does not mean that these little colleges are going to make a lot of money through athletics. Yet I loved to go to the basketball games. I loved it. People would say that I was in the audience just as excited as I could be. But it was great. And may we always have a basketball team. But it didn't bring in any money. You know, people paid tickets, but, you know. So you have to not get carried away and try to be something you're not. And sometimes in the quest for excellence, we get a little confused. I wanted to have a football team and a band. I did, until my fellow and sister presidents showed me their budgets. And I was like, oh no, oh no, I don't want, oh no, I don't want to do that. You know, it doesn't make sense. So as a small, high aspiring, quaint, beautiful HBCU with limited budgets, don't compete with FAMU that's got a great big band and a great big team. That's not you. So you have to be careful about that. I wasn't as careful as I became about that, because I wanted the best of everything. I wanted fun, academics, self-assurance, international travel, you know, narrow.